Well, I am super excited today. I have Aaron Hale back on the show. Now, I got to give Richard Kaufman credit. He is the one that introduced me to you. I love Richard. He has a great podcast. Go check it out. But like the last time you were on, Aaron, we talked about like your tours, how you got to where you're at, and some of the like races and stuff you've done. But now I was just watching, and I might say it wrong. You were just in, I believe, Africa, and you did like, is it Kilimanjaro? Did you do that? Was that the race that you did, or I'm calling it a race? It was like super long. I seen like pictures of you running in the rain and stuff.
It wasn't a race as the traditional sense. I just got a running start at Kilimanjaro. If you want to, as a point of perspective,
Yeah.
I ran from the coastline, the Indian Ocean, and right on the shore of Mombasa, about 204 miles to Kilimanjaro.
Hold on. You just people I don't think they're understanding this. I have run half marathons. I have done like 5Ks and all. I've never ran. You just literally like just no big deal. I just ran 200 miles from the Indian Ocean to Kilimanjaro. Bro, that's just crazy. In a good way, but like that's crazy. Like, did you just decide I'm gonna run 200 miles? How did you even train for that? Like, that's a long distance.
It takes a lot of miles to get to the 204 miles. Yeah. Just it's a lot of training. It's a lot of the treadmill work, a lot of weights, weight vest, and actually it's half of the life. It's all about the process, not the outcome, right? So uh it keeps me fit, keeps me busy, and it also kind of ties in hand with my other favorite hobby, which is eating.
Mhm.
So
So,
I
did you
burn
eat
a lot
like
of
some really
calories.
cool stuff? Well, I mean, I know you like to eat, but was it like there was some cool stuff in Africa that you ate, or just eating in general? Because I love eating.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, Africa was amazing. It was my first time actually visiting the continent, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't know what to expect. I was mostly worried about the keeping my cochlear batteries charged
Mhm.
because we would be I don't mostly off grid, especially up on the mountain. But I had no idea. We ran. Mombasa is a fairly large city, pretty busy. The outlets, all that, but um, we were running across the country of Kenya into Tanzania, and we went through the African bush. Yeah, we were actually in that like nature reserves and national parks, and I mean, we had to have park rangers on motorcycles shooing away the zebras and and
That's awesome.
elephants.
Yeah.
And so my biggest concerns were, one, just staying charged, so I could keep my one ear working,
Mhm.
and my balance issues. So, when I lost my hearing, I also lost my vestibular balance, that inner ear gyro. So, one of the things that it's one of the big full circle things about this trip was that 10, it was 11 years ago, two of my other blind adventurer buddies and I had all planned to climb Kilimanjaro together.
Mhm.
But meningitis hit. I was in the hospital. I was fighting meningitis 2 weeks before heading to Kilimanjaro in 2015.
Mhm.
So come full circle, lost my hearing, I'd lost my sense of balance, and it was almost 11 years before I'd built up the skill and the nerve to give it a try again, and even built up, my ability to stay on my 2 feet. But ever since then, I've been running mostly on pavement.
Mhm.
Um, so it was a real tough trial just running through the national park, which it's like dirt road. That
Yeah.
was tough. And then getting up a mountain. So all these things, so many different types of accomplishments and adventures, and of course, uh, not seeing, but being really darn close to some pretty huge animals.
Hmm.
But
Well, no,
it was
you
amazing.
said that. That's the part I think. And like, I understand elephants can be dangerous. They're big. They can be mean. But I didn't know about the zebras. Are zebras aggressive too? Like, I have no idea. I just think they're like a striped
Nah,
horse. I could be wrong.
nah, they don't care. The the like antelope or the water buffalo and uh all those other animals, they just don't care. They crowd around a watering hole, and then but those you could tell there was some uh and I was getting the description from my sighted guide and the friends on the crew, but though the big bull elephants, these things were enormous, and they were really eyeballing us
Hmm.
as we were going through. So we're glad to have the national park rangers that were with us. They were in tactical gear and had like semi-automatic rifles. I mean,
Hmm.
like they were armed. They were
Yeah,
ready for. I don't know if it was because of the poachers or the animals
probably.
themselves, but we're
Yeah.
glad to have them around.
Yeah. Probably a little bit of both, because I'm sure they're not trying to hurt the animals unless they like have to defend their lives. But elephants, rhinoceroses, the ivory, the tusks, they're always in danger. So I mean that makes sense. That's still wild though. I've traveled a lot. I have not been to Africa. It is on my list. Actually, I was telling a friend of mine next year I'm going. It's not 200 miles. I'm doing a half K or a half marathon in New Zealand. Um, through the Lord of the Rings set because I'm a big Lord of the Rings nerd, so I wanted to go do that. I'm about to turn 50. Well, I'm going to turn 49 this year. I'll be just about to turn 50 right when I run through it. And here's my little nerd fact that most people don't know. Frodo was 50 in the books when he left to go on his journey. He wasn't like 20 or 19, how he looked in the movies with Elijah Wood. He was 50 years old. So I just think that's a quirky little fun thing for me. Um, but you did mention this too, and I loved it. You mentioned the struggles, the trials, the testing. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, you were going to do it, but then you had life happen with meningitis and all, and now you're coming full circle back to it. One, and I just want to know because you have internal grit most people don't have. How did you battle through, or what did you use for motivation to actually be able to do that? Because you had a lot of crazy stuff happen. And one thing I know about you, Aaron, is that you do not like just out and lay down and say, "Woe is me." You just seem to go after life. So how did you like get to that point? Because it's business in business as well, business, life, sales, you name it. Having that fortitude is huge.
There's a kind of a push and pull thing here. One is uh, it's fun. The adventure is amazing, and I really do enjoy getting out there. And it was something that I just had to complete, right? It had been over a decade since of unfinished business. So it was this thing drawing me towards it. And the pushing part was uh like I say this all the time. There's a sheer terror of being stuck on the couch, confined by, trapped by my conditions, my disabilities, whatever you want to say about it. But uh, I I want to get out of the house because I want to get stuck, on the
Mhm.
couch. Maybe you feel starting to feel sorry for myself or lethargic, becoming apathetic. Frankly, yeah, there's a time where, yeah, I, there was a moment, time, whatever, back when just lost my eyesight, and then when I lost my hearing, and I was, sad, depressed. I mourned the change in my life. It was huge. It was
Mhm.
terrible. And I had to go through that. But then there's a point where, you can't cry forever,
Right.
right? You can't be, there was a moment when I was just sitting and, and I thought, well, okay, then what? what happens when you're done? Okay, I'm done mourning. Now what? And I had to get moving because
Mhm.
frankly, I got bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can complain and moan about your situation, but when all the complaints are out and all the tears are cried, and then you gotta do something.
Mhm.
So it's almost like a chip on my shoulder thing.
Mhm.
I start something, and I wanna. It's like you know, I, I call it Aaron's first law of kicking ass. That inertia thing. You
Uh-huh.
get started, and the compound effect, it keeps moving. So
Mhm.
I started with a marathon, um, and then I got to a point where I wondered if I wanted to go further or go faster. I just decided on further. I
Mhm.
started doing ultra marathons. In 2023, I ran the Badwater 135 ultra marathon and became the first deaf blind person to finish that.
Mhm.
And somebody said, uh, "Hey, you want to run from the coast of Africa to Kilimanjaro?" And I thought, that sounds crazy. Yes, I do.
I love it.
And of course, in the middle of this thing, like, I do wonder, like, how did I get here?
Mhm.
But if you look at the progression, it's just that inertia thing. I just kept looking for something that just it was bigger than I'd done before, or harder, or more of a challenge.
Mhm.
And every time I do it, uh, I always laugh when uh, people ask me about that, and I said, before the marathon or before the ultra or before the mountain climb, and then after, I'm always going, man, I can't wait for the next one. I can't
Mhm.
love this. When you're in the middle of it, on the side of that mountain, uh, I'm going, I can't believe I talked myself into this again.
Yes, yes. Even
I,
in my
how did I?
limited, the 13 miles I've done twice, about mile 9 or 10, I'm like, what am I doing? But then here's the crazy thing, because I found this out, because I'm like you, like if I make my mind up, I'm gonna do it. I got to, because I had done the race the second time, I got to the point where I knew I was about 3/4 of a mile left, and all of a sudden my energy kicked up again, and I just like started booking it because I'm like, oh, I'm almost done. So it was all a mental thing, and I think a lot of times people don't realize our bodies and our ability to do things are there as long as we don't get stuck in our head. And it
Hmm.
feels like from talking to you that you went through that dark time. Rightfully so. Like you had good reasons to go through that dark time, but you got to the point where you said, you know what? Screw it, F it, whatever word you want to use there. I'm going to live my life and enjoy it and do stuff. And then someone goes, hey, let's go to the west coast of Africa, to Kilimanjaro. It's only 200 miles. Did you guys stay in like hostels or hotels, or did you camp outside? How did that work? Because, I mean, 200 miles, depending on how much you do a day, would depend on, or did you just do it in a day or straight and didn't stop? I mean, you're
You
crazy enough. You probably might have done that.
a little thing about that self-talk, though. You're absolutely right. But that's exactly why we do these things, right? So I'll saying the same things like, how did I talk myself into this again? I
Yep.
did it again, and this is miserable, and get all that doubt and self-talk like this one is too hard, and you aren't prepared for this, all that kind of stuff. Who did you think you were to think you could do something like that? And that's exactly why I came here, right?
Mhm.
To face that voice, to face that self-talk, and show myself that I could power right through it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We all hit those that wall. Maybe it's 9 miles. Maybe when you talk about running marathons, 26.2, they say the first t after 20 miles you're halfway there, right? But
Yep.
uh, along the way in Africa, we would do about a marathon every day.
Hmm.
Maybe somewhere around 27 miles. One day we did 34. The next day we did 10. I think that
Hmm.
was the last day we did 10, but it was like up the side of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Uh, but we would run for about a marathon, and then we'd stay in hotels along the way. So even the places we stayed varied.
Hmm.
So in Mombasa there was like a British. We were in British Point, uh, and there was a resort there, pretty
Hmm.
nice actually. But then we touched the water uh, right on the beach and started running, and oh man, that that's talk about a kick right to the soft parts.
Hmm.
And the very first day, oh my gosh! But then along the way, you stayed in hotels that were more not as many stars,
Right. I got
and
you. I got you.
but then we got to closer to the animal like sanctuaries, the conservation, and there were these other types of like the safari resorts. And oh wow, I stayed in a tent. It was
Hmm.
like a luxury tent. It was like one of those GP Smalls or whatever. One room enough for a queen size bed, some
Hmm.
a couple furniture, but then there was actually the back flap opened into uh a brick bathroom, toilet, his and her sinks, huge shower. That was like a luxury tent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one night we were actually in a open air resort hotel. It was huge. I mean, the room was amazing. And instead of window panes, it was like heavy duty mosquito netting.
Nice.
And about 40 yards from the out exterior of the hotel, there was this watering hole, and it had all the cool animals. The elephants are right outside my window. The
Wow.
the water buffalo and giraffe, and oh, then there was a wild animal pool party right outside my window. And it sounded like they could just, reach a trunk right inside, and I don't know. But
No, that's awesome.
it
Like,
was pretty amazing.
yeah, I love that. Like, I've traveled, like, I've been to Bolivia, I've been to Malaysia, I've stayed in the not so five-star, which is fine. And I've stayed in five, that doesn't matter. To me, I'm weird, maybe like this. When I go somewhere, I want to go where the locals go, more so than when the tourist goes. I like to get to know like the environment, the people. Like when I was in Malaysia, I ate at a friend of ours' house and got to have their authentic food. But I think everyone should get outside the US because we have it so cushy here. Like I'm just being honest. Like compared to other places around the world, we have it pretty cushy here in the US. Um, I love that. But the animals, I would have been just staring. I probably wouldn't have slept at all. I probably just been sitting there listening, staring, doing whatever because I'm into animals. I'll like turn on the show and listen to the birds or whatever. I love that.
Well, it was pretty cool, except like the middle of the night, you still had those elephants like trumpeting. Oh, come on, guys. Come on, go to bed. But you talked about like the culture, the people, and you know what I love to do? Because I love to travel too. I lived in Italy when I was still in the Navy for like 4 years. I traveled all over Europe and the Mediterranean. It was amazing. I've been to, like you mentioned, New Zealand. I went to New Zealand when I was 15. Uh, and that was awesome. But when I go anywhere that doesn't speak English as a first language, I like to at least learn a few phrases. And I had ChatGPT teach me a few necessary phrases, and then I asked it for a few funny, maybe slightly snarky, like my personality type of
Hmm.
phrases. So one of the words is twende, which means let's go,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And then I learned the my response to it was Subiri Kidogo, which is, and this is Swahili, uh, and that means just a minute. Just hold on. Just give me a minute.
Mhm.
We actually had Isaac was a ultra runner and mountain guide. He actually lives in Kenya, and he volunteered to come with us and be our local, like, not only sighted running guide, but local translator and guide on the road. And it was awesome. So he would say Twende, and I'm going Sibiri Kodogo, and you could hear the surprise in his voice, like, how did you know that?
Yeah, yeah.
But the people were amazing. You mentioned, like, our culture, our economic status. It's amazing how uh, happy and gracious and generous these people are,
Mhm.
and they have quite a bit less substantially than we do on a whole.
Mhm.
And we would be running down the road in some small town in Kenya, and people would ask, "What are you doing?" And they would, Isaac would explain, and they would be inspired. They said, "That's so great." And they would give us biscuits, little cookies,
Mhm.
and something out of their car or their bag. And
Yep.
they would just hand us bananas or mangoes. And I'm like, "Thank you."
Mhm.
Somebody even dropped, I think he was riding a bicycle, dropped his bicycle and ran with us for a little while. Uh,
Nice.
yeah. We had ran by an elementary school, and all the kids started shouting "Jumbo," which is basically hello. It was
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. That is awesome. No, I see. That's the thing that I love about traveling. You get to meet people. Most of the time when you're traveling, the people you meet are amazing. They're kind. They're gracious, and we always think we need all the stuff. But what I've found in life, my happiest moments is not the stuff; it's the experiences. That's why, like, I don't care about cars. I got friends that have super nice cars. What I don't care. I drive a RAV that's paid for. I don't have to deal with it. I don't care. It's not sexy at all. But I'm going to New Zealand. I'm going to spend money to go to New Zealand because I want to go do it. Then you get there like, I just get to
Yeah.
go and have time with my friends, my family, and enjoy life. That's the meaning.
Mm.
That's, I think, the part that we miss.
Well, imagine we're all day. You get on social media and it's so negative, right? It's the politics, the news, people griping about this or that. I just spent 3 weeks of people, like, just being friendly, saying hello, and like handing us cookies. I mean, it was fantastic running through the African bush, like Serengeti. I mean, it was amazing, and I'm out there doing physically challenging things,
Hmm.
and in a physically difficult environment because it was hot.
Hmm.
But I was with incredible people and meeting more incredible people and getting to experience a whole different culture and learning a few words in a different language and going to climb a mountain.
Hmm.
Uh, it was amazing. It just filled me with positivity.
Yeah. No, I love it. Like I was watching, I'm like, that is freaking awesome. Like when you would post pictures or do different stuff, and I'm like, holy cow. Like it inspired me more because I'm like, because I would do want to go to Africa. I'm not saying I want to go run 200 miles in Africa. That might just be your thing, but I do definitely want to go to Africa and see it. I love that.
I
Let's.
tell you. Well, I was going to tell you that Kilimanjaro, being one of the seven summits, is the tallest peak, on the continent of Africa. And it's also the largest freestanding mountain in the world. I guess the tallest. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's big, but it's really accessible. It's not a like a technical climb. It's not a lot of glacier or snow or climbing with ice axes and rope teams and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. it's just a big hike. And
Oh,
so
nice.
it really is. It gets a little, yeah, of course, gets a little steep at the top, and rocky, but it's just a long slog up the mountain. And we stayed in huts or cabins each night
Hmm.
up and down. So, we were in bunk beds, not sleeping in tents on little pads or sleep. We brought sleeping bags. We hired porters, and we had hot meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
In fact, I for a portion up towards the summit, there was actually guardrails on. Somebody said, "Here, reach to your left and hold onto that." And I reached out. It was like a fence, like a
Mhm.
um that like squarish tubing type fence. I don't. Anyhow, I hold on to them. Like, more mountains need guardrails.
Mhm.
But it was really great.
No, I love that. Like I said, I seen that you were there. It was super exciting to me for you. Definitely Africa is on my list. Next year, New Zealand. Maybe the year after I go to Africa. I always like to have one big trip in the horizon because then I work harder at my business. I work harder
Mhm.
at my everything I do because I have a goal. If I don't have a goal, I'm not as focused on it. So I mean that's just kind of how I roll.
I gotta break free. You can't grind it forever, or you just kind of grind yourself down. And
Mhm.
yeah, I love to travel. That's my way of resetting too. But I'm also one of those guys, I can't just sit on a lounge chair on the
Mhm.
beach. I mean, I live at the beach. Uh, but all the same, I'm not one of those guys that just kind of likes to sit back on a poolside or something all
Mhm.
day and just read a book. I want to do things. I want to get out there. I want to mix it up. Go climb a mountain, and that's my reset. I don't know, even if it's like touring through Rome
Mhm.
or whatever it is, doing stuff, visiting the sites, saying I've been there, that done that kind of thing. Used to be go see things, but you know what I
Mhm.
mean.
I got you. I got you. Well, no, like even I know when I go on trips, like when we did the half marathon, the day after, I did plan it as a rest day, but about halfway through the day, even then, I'm like, no, let's go do something. I can't just sit here at the poolside or whatever, because that's just, I get bored with it too. Like I am like, okay, cool. I can sit here for a little bit, maybe have a drink of my choice, but after a while, what am I? I'm just sitting here. There's nothing going on. I think high achievers are that way though. Like we always have to have some type of action going. I do want to transition a little bit though, because you coach people and help people as well. Tell us a little bit about who you help and what you do, because I know like you do more than like I mean you do a crap ton, but who do you like coach and help? Because I don't know if we talked about that the last time you were on, because we were talking about everything else.
Well, I don't do a whole lot of one-on-one coaching. I do plenty of teamwork, leadership, speaking around the country and in a motivational style. I
Hmm.
talk to military groups, corporations, schools, all sorts of organizations, and uh, however, it's all about perspective. It's about resilience and uh, and it's developing that
Hmm.
mindset for winning, for success, for taking on whatever comes, whatever challenges you may face ahead, and preparing for it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. People definitely need to have your story, your voice out there. Because again, so I'm gonna ask you this, 'cause I'm figuring you might already have it in your mind. You just did Kilimanjaro. What's the next big adventure that you have planned, or are you still kind of trying to figure out what you want to do?
Oh, I'm always looking for another adventure. We were talking about it. The 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 uh, the gentleman who guided me from the coastline to the summit uh, was Brian Hill, and he also guided my friend Lonnie Bedwell, who happens to be the first blind person to kayak the entire Grand Canyon. Uh, guided Lonnie up uh, Carson's Pyramid, um, a couple other peaks, but he also was with him for they skied to the South Pole
Oh wow.
and climbed Mount Vincent Massive, which is the tallest peak on Antarctica. So in one trip, they went to the South Pole and to the top of the tallest peaks, knocking off that one of the seven summits. So uh, he is definitely a dangerous guy to have a chat with about what comes
Yes.
next. But he is the guy that talked me into the Coast to Killy thing.
Hmm.
Anyhow, uh, he and I were talking about it, and maybe Antarctica's the next stop.
Dude, that would
We're
be
still working
cool.
on it.
That definitely would be cool. I actually had, I don't know if you know who Jen Drummond is. She actually's done the seven summits, but the second summit's not the first. I didn't even know there was a second summit for most mountains. I had no idea. But she did the top seven mountains, but the second summit. She's the first woman to do it and the second person to do the second summit. Did you know that there was two summits on the mountain? I had no clue.
201.
There's like two summits. Like there's a summit and there's a second summit. I don't understand mountain climbing enough. I guess there's multiple summits. There's that she's in the Guinness Book
Well,
of World Records for, but I don't know.
as it turns out, the seven summits, not all of them are the biggest or tallest mountains in the world. They're just the tallest ones on that continent. So, uh, in Australia, that's more like a day hike.
Hmm.
Uh, um, Kosciuszko, Mount Kosciuszko is a very small mountain. It's more like a hill,
Hmm.
but it counts. But um, so some people do other kind of landmark uh, challenges, like the do all the 14ers in Colorado, or yeah, I think there are quite a bit of quite a few peaks above 20,000 feet right in the Himalayas. So
Hmm.
there's definitely some more difficult challenges than the seven summits. Not that the seven summits aren't that challenging, but I don't know.
Hmm.
The second summit's like the next seven. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like I had just heard of like I had a different friend say, "Hey, you had to meet my friend. She's done these mountains." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then she's like, "Yeah, I did the." I had to look it up when I had her on the show. 'Cause I'm like, "What's the second summit?" I had no idea. I'm a really weird dude in this regard. If someone tells me something new and I'm into it, I'm gonna go research it and figure it out because I'm like, "Oh," and I'll go on these little trails, rabbit trails going down and all.
Hmm.
Because like even funny things like online, because I know you've heard of this stuff. Like I don't believe there's an ice wall in Antarctica. I believe you can go to Antarctica, but have you ever just listened to one of those stories where they make it? It's like they're writing this story and there was this pilot that crashed. Sometimes those things pull me in just because I think they're funny.
Well, there are plenty of I have plenty of friends with being in this adventurer endurance community. There you get all sorts of fun stories. Um, Oftentimes ending up with like losing a finger or toe. But uh the
This is why women would live longer than men.
yeah, but it's funny how almost nonchalant or they are about, oh yeah, and that's when I lost the tip of that finger, but it was a great day. Yeah, anyhow, I we were talking, one other crazy type was talking about trying to get me busy, get me to get busy on the 50 states. So running a marathon in every state. I've got maybe a fifth
Mhm,
of it knocked off, but we are doing like back-to-back races.
mhm.
So go to Arkansas and then run a marathon. Then the next day, cross into Mississippi and run a marathon and try to knock out a batch at a time.
Hmm.
I would like to also uh, get an ultra in on every continent.
Hmm.
So that's kind of one of my checklist things or bucket list things.
I love it. I love that. Well, if you decide to do the one in Hawaii, it's every September on the 3rd, typically, which is my wife's birthday. That's why I remember it. But I did the half, but they have a full one there too for the marathon. If you need one in the state, that's in Kauai, the farthest out island. It's more the garden one. It's more relaxed. Again, you'll find a theme with me. I like to go to places that are more rural and relaxed than big cities because I live in big cities. I live in Phoenix now. I used to live in DFW. I have the city life if I want it. When I go on vacation, I go like to Montana or Colorado or Hawaii or somewhere where it's more chill.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things about doing this is that you to find some of these adventures, you got to travel pretty far from where you normally live, right?
Mhm,
And so, why not throw in a little sightseeing, a little R&R
mhm.
with your physical challenge. So one of the things, another one of these, challenges I'd like to do are what they call them, the, uh, they're like the majors of marathons.
Like
So,
the ultra, the really big, crazy ones, like the 100, 200-mile ones. Is that what you're talking about? Like, I don't know. I know they're ultras and there's like super ultras or something.
well, I think anything over 26.2 is just considered an ultra, and it could be for anything. The, but I was just talking about the majors of marathons like Berlin, London. I think they just added Sydney to
Hmm.
the official majors. So there are six or seven now, maybe. New York, Chicago. I forgot the list, but uh, with destinations Tokyo too. So
Hmm.
there's plenty of destination marathons. But when you talk about like the big distances or the like it's so funny when you've only run a 5K and you look at somebody that runs half marathons, like, man, that's kind of crazy. And then uh, somebody that runs a half marathon and look at the guy that runs full marathons, like that's a little bit outside my wheelhouse. And then I hadn't even heard of ultras until I'd run my second or third marathon.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know there were races that go further.
Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
find out there's 100 milers, there's the 50K, 50 mile, 100K, 100 milers, 130, it could just 300-mile races and beyond. One of my friends did a Deca Ironman.
Oh.
So if you can imagine what a full Ironman is, it's a marathon. What is it? 100 miles on a bike,
And then so far
and
swimming, yeah, like it's a lot.
then like two and something miles on swimming.
Hmm.
Then you multiply that by 10. That's in
No.
some. So yeah. And it goes beyond that. So yeah, my friend did that once my friend Frank did that once in Mexico. It was a
Hmm.
deca, and it took him like a month. But
Yeah.
he just does the whole swim and does the whole. I've never done a triathlon, so I don't know what
Hmm.
um I don't even know what the sequence is. But anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah, he does all of the marathons together till he's done. So yeah, it, if you can dream it up, there's probably somebody that's wants to or has done it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's great. I think we just limit ourselves, like we talked about earlier, by how we think or what we allow ourselves to do instead of just doing it and then adapting if something doesn't go right. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Too many times people quit because they get in their head. And if you can
Hmm.
stay
Hmm.
focused on your goal, and even sometimes just, I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to go to that tree. I've played games when I've run before. I'm going to run to that tree, knowing I'm going to run way past that tree. But right now, I'm just telling my mind, I'm only running to the tree, so it thinks I'm good. And then I'm going to go to that next one. And I think that's how life is. Sometimes you have to break it down into pieces, but you can accomplish so much stuff.
Well, being in your head, that's really important because there's that self-talk, right? And it's getting over, getting past that point where you're actually convincing yourself that it's too hard.
Hmm.
Uh, I experience this well all the time, but when I was running Badwater, that's they call it the toughest foot race on earth, and it's from the lowest point in North America, Death Valley, the Badwater Basin, 282 feet below sea level, to the Mount Whitney uh, portal, the basically the trailhead. Uh, 135 miles over two mountain ranges and then almost to the top of Mount Whitney. And it's hot. It's
Hmm.
Death Valley. It's so, but I remember there's one. It's pretty much the crucible of Badwater. It's this the second mountain climb, like the range climb. It's called Father Crawley, and it's just these switchbacks going right up the mountain. So it's hot. Uh, you've got these cars speeding down the mountain on these switchbacks, um, and of course it's like 70, 80 miles into the race already. So you're exhausted. And the switchbacks, they do that like racetrack thing where
Hmm.
it tilts in. And because of my balance issues and the fact that I was so fatigued, every time we went around one of the switchbacks, it was like the road was trying to pull me right across the white line into that oncoming traffic. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was definitely talking to myself, and it wasn't pretty.
Hmm.
Uh, and we, the, one of the things comes to my mind is beyond just convincing myself that I shouldn't be there and I should try is trying to find a way out. All
Hmm.
right, self-sabotage. And it would literally in some of these races, in my head, I'm thinking, what if I just twisted my ankle just good enough? All right, it wouldn't be permanent, but it would get me out of the race. And how many times have we thought if we just had an easy way out,
Hmm.
you maybe would take it instead of going the distance. And even on the Mount Kilimanjaro, man, I'd been running for like 9 days straight, 10 days, 9 days. I took a couple of days off, let my feet rest up and heal, and then switched from running gear to climbing gear and started going up this mountain. But the thing was, it'd been raining for days. So not only was I going up rocky, mountain with my balance and getting the leg fatigue and probably still healing, healing up, recovering from the running, uh, but it was muddy,
Hmm.
slick. It was like something out of Indiana Jones. I mean, I would take a step with with my boots, and my foot would just slide right back down to where it started. And it was like I was scrambling. It was remember I don't know how old you are, but the game show on Nickelodeon, Double Dare,
Yeah. Yeah.
where everybody just jumps in all the slime and like
Hmm.
slips. That was me. I was slipping all over the place, scrambling
Nice.
in this like snot textured mud, and it was day one of the mountain, and I thought, oh my gosh, if it's this hard at the bottom of the mountain, I'm not gonna make it. And then I actually slipped at one point, and did one of these, like the sprinters stretch,
Hmm.
where you bring your heel back behind you.
Yeah.
I I accidentally did that
Ooh.
from a standing position and landing on
Wow.
rocks and mud, like an instant,
Yep.
and I sprained my ankle. I hurt my foot, my knee, all at the same time. And I thought I was in an instant. I was laying there going, maybe this was my way out. But I stood up, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I couldn't lie. I could lie to myself, but I couldn't lie to everybody else. Like, no, I'm fine. It hurt. It
Yep.
was like that movie, The Replacements. Are you hurt or are you injured?
Yep. Yep.
I was hurt.
Yeah.
I could keep going.
But I love that because you kept going anyway, even though, and I think business, life, sales, doing hard things, we're all going to run into that point. But the life we have is determined by, do we choose to, okay, I'm going to play hurt. I'm going to move forward hurt. Or are we, and if you're legitimately injured, which you understand injury, you would say, okay, I can't, my leg's not working. That's a different ballgame. So people don't hear it. I'm not saying Goggins yourself and have a broken leg and keep walking. I'm not telling you to do that unless you're Goggins and that's what you want to do. Then, okay, fine, you can do what you want. But that resiliency, when you know you can keep going, I love that. I think that's where people win and lose. It's that game of inches in life and business, relationship, you name
Hmm.
it.
That's the whole point. Right? I got to we got to a resting point on that climb a couple hours later, and I was sitting there eating a little food, taking in some calories, and just brooding about what I'd just gone through, and I even put it to I almost put the responsibility on they tried to shift the responsibility to my team. I said, "Hey, listen, I'll keep going if I have to, but I refuse to be unsafe. I don't want to get permanently injured. I don't want to injure anyone. I want to put anybody else in, risk of,
Hmm.
injury, in an unsafe place." I fell down like 7 or 8 times in a couple hours,
Hmm.
and um, I don't know if I can keep going. And I just kind of, sat there and waited for them. And they're like, "All right, eat up, and let's keep going."
Hmm.
They just wouldn't even acknowledge my griping. And that was because I had awesome people around me.
Hmm.
I had people who recognized it, like, okay, when you're done with your boo-hooing, we got a mountain to climb.
Yep.
And there was the same thing on Father Crawley when I had my breakdown moment uh, running up those switchbacks. It was the toughest foot race on earth. No wonder I had some doubts. But
Yeah.
I had a world-class team with me, and they said, "We got you. You're good. When you get through this part, because we know you will, we all have, we'll be here and we'll keep going. So you take your breather, you collect yourself, and let's keep going."
You just mentioned something that I think is huge that most people maybe don't have but should, especially if you're an entrepreneur, sales, business, life. A band
Hmm.
of friends, guys, girls, whoever you are, whatever works for your demographic there that won't put up with your shit. They'll let you understand. They know you're going through something. They're going to let you go through the process, but they're not going to let you quit on yourself. It was like, it reminds me of the Bible, the 4 men in the stretcher. It's a guy on the stretcher couldn't walk up to Jesus at that point, but his buddies took him and said, hey, no, we're going to take you to where you need to be. And sometimes you need someone to carry you along or help you go on or be like, dude, I totally get it. I've been there. Like you said, on the Badlands race, which hardly,
Hmm.
if you've done one marathon, you're in the top 0.1% of people in the world anyway. So the fact that you're doing ultras is even more infinitely small group of people that have done it. But the fact that you've done it and kept going, that's huge. That's like inspiration on steroids because you have to think about it. Most people can't run a mile right now. And when I say run, I don't care how fast you're going. If your mile is 30 minutes for a mile, but you're doing a mile, I'm proud of you because a lot of people, they haven't run anything since high school, if that, or done anything hard. So I love that and I commend you on that. Before I let you go, because we're coming up on the end of the hour, what else have we missed? Is there anything else you wanted to touch base on, leave our listeners with?
Say that again, sir.
Oh, is there anything else you wanted to leave the listeners with, touch base on that we maybe didn't talk about, or just some final inspiration for them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could talk with you for hours, but I know we got a limited amount of time. But I would just reiterate that I didn't do it alone. In fact, that's kind of the blessing of being blind, is that everything in my life is a team sport. It definitely is not in my best interest to lace up and step out the front door or go for a run. Uh, it's not very healthy. So what I get, people say, I have to do this, right? Uh, I could say I have to find a partner to go for a run or climb a mountain because I need a guide. Or I could say I get to run with a friend every time I step out. I get to climb these mountains with amazing people. It's like that cliche that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. It's 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 true. That's why, cliches become cliches. It's
Mhm.
true. So I get to do this. I have a great excuse for getting people together with me. But I had a team that when things got too tough for me, I could lean on them. And you need to surround yourself with great people, and you got to have that perspective where you get to do this. So that's that's what I love to share. That's what I love to talk about. That's why I do so much talking.
No, I love it. And I appreciate you being on. And we'll definitely have to have you on again. Hopefully, after you go to Antarctica, I'm just going to throw it out there because then I'm going to pick your brain on that one because that sounds extremely cool. Or anything else you decide to do. It might be something else that pops in your head that you're like, hey, I'm going to go accomplish and do this. And for all you listening, surround yourself with people that believe in you, that won't take your bull crap answer or excuse, but see the greatness in you enough that will help you achieve the goals you set out to do. Share this episode with someone, and until next time, go do something. Don't just be, do, and live a life that you love living.